I don't normally play this side.
Sorry?
I don't normally play this side.
Is it freaked you out a bit?
It's the first time I played this side.
How you feel? It might be better. It might be like Dejan Lovren.
Exactly, yeah.
People are like, why did he play on the right all along?
Why didn't someone say something? Say, why did he go this side? All along. It could have worked for him.
I just sat down, mate. I was sort of alpha male did a bit, didn't I?
A little bit, yeah. I just came over and thought, got to record it at some point. There's lots of people excited about a footballer.
I know, it's nice, isn't it? It's like we played the game last night, but no one cares because there might be a new fellow who can kick it in the goal.
Yeah, 39 league goals and 37 league games in the last 2 seasons in Ukraine.
Yeah, 22 and 15. He's been there a while, hasn't he? And he's been very successful there. He won 5 leagues in a row his first 5 seasons.
Suggests the good.
Yeah, it suggests the good. And it suggests he's used to winning, which is I think is a good thing, because when you're winning leagues, you generally have to perform week in, week out, and you don't know whether I'm sure it'll be a step up to the Premier League or a different test or whatever, but it suggests he's used, because people have been moaning a lot, aren't we? We're always buying players from Aston Villa, Southampton, mid-table teams, and then really surprised when they can't do it. Well, this fella's he's won a lot of trophies. He's done well in the Champions League, scored 2 against Real this season, and they're all right. So that's Real Madrid.
Not Tossi's that or one of the other ones.
So he's got a bit of a pedigree there. Well, so I'm quite excited about it. I'm hoping they can get it done. Yeah. It doesn't feel like they're miles away, does it?
It doesn't feel like they're miles away. I think it's an interesting one. This, I think I think it probably helped that they're in Florida. Not was going to get Ian moving more.
I know. I suspected they were going, oh yeah, maybe we should try and do something. And in the end, he was in Florida, and he was like, we've got to go.
Yeah, he's the business. Someone tell Shane Long's agent. We'll park that.
Out in Florida. Robbo just pointed out how we've got people out in America, like working for Liverpool Football Club.
Yeah, there's an office.
Yeah, and they were like, no.
They're actually some of them are more senior than Ian. No. This is one for me. This lads.
Yeah, Billy Hogan's like, it's just an internal flight, down the coast. It's fine.
Saves a fortune, absolutely. My bag's packed. Billy, you've got a lot on. My bag's packed.
And yes, she has got to come.
I'm excited.
Good luck to you, Ian. I can't knock it.
Exactly, you can't knock it. I've had this for a while. That if he was just 10% more brazen, everyone would think he was brilliant. There is. Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting. I think it shows the Shane Long thing. I think is interesting in the context of it, because I think it shows that if they feel they've got a sniff of getting a really good player, they're going to go for it. I think, and in the meantime, they're just going to do some other stuff as well. And I think, and that's the only way you can do it. I mean, I'm not necessarily into strategies, and I know a lot of people are into strategies and the idea that you can absolutely plan all this, but sometimes if an opportunity, the other thing to point out as well is there's not tons of forwards in Europe.
No.
They would have, who aren't already at top clubs. Yeah.
It's funny, like, it'd be interesting to understand and to know why a few others haven't took a punt on him. You say because if he's got this record, I know generally his goal scoring is improved recently, but if he's been a kind of good player for a while, just knocking about in the Ukraine, it'd be interesting to know why, what it is that's persuaded.
It could be that the league, do you see the league is that is maybe too much of a step up, but this is sort of, he's 26 I think, and it's this is the moment where if he's going to step up, this is maybe where we sort of come into the equation. The other thing I wondered as well is if maybe Chelsea have had to decide between him and Pato, because they look like they're moving in a Pato-y direction, and they've gone, maybe what that's done is it sort of adds Teixeria's age and going, well, we need to get this move now. Yeah. And suddenly Liverpool have ended up in the loop. Yeah,
it could be something. It seems to have happened quite quickly, and I think they must have had some encouragement, to go out there, jokes aside. So I think potentially it could be something that happens quite fast, because I think they want to get someone in. I like the fact that he's versatile. He can play across the front three, because it's one of those where you think, well, he'd probably be playing up front a bit more if we get him for the rest of the season, and then you kind of have a look at it, based on kind of what strikers you've got available and who you want. So, it's good that he's got that versatility. I mean, he's got a crack on YouTube. He can hit a ball.
He can strike it, and that's the main thing I took from his YouTube as well, is that he can strike it, and he strikes it with a certain amount of certainty in the penalty area, which you feel as though we lack a bit of, to be honest with you. There's a load of lads who are trying to place it and all this sort of stuff, whereas he just blams it in and worries about literally what part of the goal that went in later.
Which is what Wayne Rooney did at the weekend. And it went in. So there's a lot to be said for it. And I say it doesn't feel like they're a million miles away from parts. It seems everyone knows that we've bid at £25 million. They're looking for closer to 40 million. It just kind of feels like something could be done somewhere in the middle there, don't it, for Firmino style money.
Yeah, there'll be something. You're optimistic. I mean, these things can often go the other way. But you're optimistic, and it's difficult to see. It's difficult to see if who gazumps. If Chelsea aren't interested, it's difficult to see sort of where the gazumping comes from. I enjoyed last night.
Good.
We had a chat, didn't we? After that, we did the show, The Pink. If you haven't listened to it yet, me and John and Paul Senior chatting about it, and I think one of the things that we were actually saying after The Pink, when we were just sort of walking away, was how you were never anxious during the match, where you were always relaxed, and that the early goal helped. But it was a nice night at Anfield.
Yeah, you could see they were a lot better than the opposition. You could see they were going to dominate the ball and dominate the territory as well. I mean, they couldn't get out their own half, especially first half. They got out a couple more times second half, but first half they just couldn't get out, and so that was nice, because that's the end of the pitch that I sit, the Anfield Road end to in the Centenary. Me, so it was all just in front of me. But it's really nice of them.
That's what you want to do. Did you hear the manager afterwards on the loans thing?
No.
He did a really interesting interview. If you can find it, it's on YouTube. This is Anfield. I've got the YouTube of it, and he has this in the press conference. He has this chat about that he's quite that you've got to learn what everyone else is doing. That was the interesting thing. He mentioned. He says, it may be better for individual development, is what he says. But there's the collective development that you've got to. He says even a basic thing like overlapping. He actually specifies overlapping. You need to know when it is that we want you to go and when we don't want you to go, and how to play better as a team. And it's quite. He talks on it. I'm not quite sure who asks the question. I couldn't hear that, but he talks on it for 3 or 4 minutes. And it's quite, it is this idea of, he says, obviously we want them to improve as players, but we need the collective to improve. We need the collective to know what they're doing.
Yeah, no, I think it's an interesting one, that, and I think when you've got such a defined style of play that Jurgen Klopp has, and you're very specific about what you want from individual players, I think it then becomes quite hard to send them out on loan, because, as he says, there's certain things you can't replicate by like playing in front of crowds and playing when it matters and things like that. But then there's if it's a completely different style of football, if it's a different set of demands, then are they actually developing in the way that you want to? And they could be getting tougher, and they could be getting kind of more streetwise, if you like. But if you have to then bring them back and then teach them everything you want to do, then
and maybe even undo some stuff.
Yeah,
no,
definitely. You can pick up bad habits, So
maybe they're not even bad habits.
Yeah, just different habits.
Just different habits.
Yeah. So it's a funny one, really, and it suggests a bit of a change in how we've done it. I think certainly for the likes of the 19-20-year-olds, I don't think you'll see them go out on loan as much. I think you'll see them. He's talked about developing as a group, hasn't he, and seeing like that. I kind of wonder, once they get to maybe 22, 23, someone like, I was saying last night on The Pink, I'm not sure where Teixeira's next game comes from, really. The younger lads, you can use them in the Europa League. You can throw them in off the bench and things like that, and be happy with that, and they'll be happy playing under 21 football. I sort of feel like Teixeira's outgrown under 21 football now. He can't play in the Europa League unless we choose to deregister someone, which I don't think they'll do. And then the FA Cup's getting a bit more serious, and he's not going to play in the League Cup final. So so for someone like Teixeira, you wonder whether actually 3 months away somewhere might actually if he just needs to go somewhere and really rip it up.
I think that might be the case. Just quickly on the deregistering point, there's a strong deregistering Danny Ings point. Because you can't play. Yeah. So I don't think we will have had to register Gomez at the start, but there is you get the impression we could at least deregister one. Yeah. And then you can probably, maybe if you're Jurgen Klopp, make the argument you could deregister Sturridge. If you're not gonna, but then you don't know. We don't know. He's got more information than we've got. But there's bits and pieces. But I agree with you completely on Teixeira, and I think just even for his own long-term well-being. I mean, he's got to play football matches, and I think that gets mentioned as well in the same thing. The manager's saying, well, there's what we want, there's what he wants. We've got to find a solution, and it may be that he says sometimes people have to leave football clubs, and the lad needs to play football. He's 23 years old. He's got our first team games. It's that straightforward.
But he did alright.
They all did alright. Lovely lads. All worked hard. Lovely ovation for Flanagan. Okay, then you've got that Pink to listen to, and also there was tournament in the Gutty yesterday. We'll be doing the audio special later on, and we've got a live City Talk this evening, 6:30 on the radio, DAB, or on 1548 medium wave these days. It'll be released as a podcast. It's me, him, Steve Graves, Ben Johnson. See you later on.